Let me ask you a question. And I need to be like extremely honest with you right now. Would you follow you? I mean, if you worked for you, if you reported to you, if you had to trust you to lead you where you're trying to go, would you follow you? Because here's what I know. Most of you are that are watching this right now are leaders. You're leading people. You're leading yourself. You're an entrepreneur. You're a manager, you're a CEO, you're a team lead, you're a solopreneur that's building something and you're frustrated. You're frustrated because maybe your team isn't stepping up. Maybe your family isn't stepping up. Maybe the people around you are not executing. Maybe they're not taking ownership. Maybe they're not accountable. And you keep thinking, what if I just had better people? Let me tell you something that's going to sting a little bit, right? If your team is walking on eggshells, it's because you're the one that's dropping them everywhere. They're falling out of your pocket and you don't even see it. Because the number one thing that leaders lack right now, and as someone that has coached hundreds of leaders, as someone who has led thousands of people and large teams and insurance industries and different agencies and a corporate brick and mortar buildings of teams of store managers and just large teams. I've done a lot when it comes to working one-on-one, one-to-many, and I've met so many people that say they're leaders. But it's like people want to be leaders because of the title. They want to be leaders because of what they feel it's going to give them, but not what it is that they're going to do for others. And the number one thing that leaders lack is not vision. It's not strategy. It's not even talent. It's accountability. But not the accountability that like you think. Most leaders think accountability means holding other people accountable. Like they say things like, my team needs to be more accountable. I need to make sure that they're doing their jobs. They need to step up. Wrong. That's all wrong. I mean, here's the real question. Are you accountable? Are you accountable for the culture that you created? Are you accountable for why your team doesn't trust you? Are you accountable for why they're afraid to bring you some bad news? Or are you afraid? I mean, not are you afraid? Listen, are you accountable for why they tell you what you want to hear instead of what you need to hear? Listen, I get it. I've been there. I had to go through a state where I went from a victim to a leader in order for me to actually understand how I can improve and how I can help others get what they wanted instead of having them run away from me. Right? I get it. I've been there. Like I've been the leader who blamed my whole team. Like I'm not standing here on some pedestal that's saying, "Hey, I'm the GOAT," right? And I'm this guy when it comes to leadership. I'm telling you that I blamed everybody else but myself. I would find some type of outside influence to say the reason why things are the way they are is because of that. The reason why things are the way they are is because of him. The way things are the way they are is because of my boss or the company's mission or what. Listen, I've been the leader who's blamed everybody else but myself. But the real problem was me. And my unwillingness, my unwillingness to look in the mirror first. Listen, I was so quick to look out the window, but I was really slow to look in the mirror. So today I'm going to show you what accountability really is, why you've been doing it backwards, and also the research on why leaders fail. And to be honest with you, it's probably not what you think. I'm also going to go over the lens shift that changes everything and changed everything for me, which was going from the victim lens to the leader lens, and why you need someone leading you or your heart will keep deceiving you. Come on now, you know we're going to get biblical, right? And the biblical foundation that proves that Jesus was the most accountable leader who ever lived. Welcome to the Perspective Pause, y'all. My name is Francesco Franzese. Some people call me Chesco. Some people call me Let's Go Chesco. I'm a father. I'm an entrepreneur. But really, I'm a courageous, enthusiastic man of God that takes intentional action with the gifts that I was given. And my question today for you guys is, would you follow you? Welcome to the Perspective Pause. If you're new here, this is a weekly live stream that we go live every single Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, to let people know that they don't need a new life. They need a new lens. And in this video, I'm going to tell you that you don't need a new team. You need a new lens. So let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, you get any value from it, please go ahead and share this video out with somebody. That's all I would ask from you. Share this video with somebody that you feel that is wanting to become a leader, somebody that is in a leadership role, somebody that's maybe lacking accountability, somebody that wants to be more accountable. Share this video with somebody today that you know would benefit them, because this may be the only information that they really need to hear right now. That's going to help them maybe get out of their own way. So anyway, research number one, why leaders actually fail, right? So before I tell you like my story and what happened to me, let me kind of show you the data, because it isn't just my opinion. Like I always say, this is backed by research. And when you see the numbers, you'll kind of understand why so many leaders are stuck. The leadership failure rate, let me slow down because I get super hype about this, because this is the secret to success when it comes to business. It is leadership. And the biggest mistake that leaders make is that they fail to take accountability. Maybe they don't even know what accountability is. But according to Harvard Business Review, they did a study on leadership derailment, right? And here's what they found. 60 to 75% of leaders derail within the first 18 months. 60 to 75%. That means if you put 10 leaders in a room, 6 or 7 of them won't make it past a year and a half. Why is that? Because they fail to hold themselves accountable. They blame the team, they blame the market, they blame something outside, they blame the circumstances, but they never actually look in the mirror, right? And here's another one from the International Coach Federation, right? What does it say? The International Coach Federation. Yeah. They found that leaders without mentors or coaches are 70% more likely to make critical errors. 70%, right? So the real translation to that is that if there's nobody that's leading you, your heart, well, this is what I like to say, right? Like I say, if there's nobody leading you, then you're really just kind of like going nowhere fast. But if there's nobody leading you, then your heart will keep deceiving you. Because in the Bible, and we'll get into it later, that the heart will deceive you, right? You have to think logically. And in business, you have to take the emotion out of things. And what happens is that, like, if you keep lacking accountability and you keep allowing yourself to not think that you even need a mentor, then you're going to continue to make decisions based on your ego, not wisdom. You're going to be making decisions based on your feelings and not truth, based on pride, not humility. And you'll keep making the same mistakes over and over again. I mean, I know what it's like, right? And it's really like the ego problem. And I don't know if you guys ever read the book Good to Great, but this book, it was Jim Collins, and he talked about how companies go from good to great, right? It's that simple. Well, he found something in there, and he said that the best leaders, which he calls them level 5 leaders, they all have one thing in common. And it's probably something that you don't think that they have in common. Yes, they all take accountability, but it's something that a lot of people, they tend to have mixed feelings about this thing when it comes to business and when it comes to leadership. But the best leaders, in which he calls level 5 leaders, have this one thing in common. They're humble. They're humble. They're not proud. They're not full of pride, full of ego. They're humble. They're humble. And here's what he said, right? He said, level 5 leaders look out the window to credit others and look in the mirror to assign blame. He said they look out the window to credit others, but they look in the mirror to assign blame. leaders today are actually looking out the window to assign blame, and then they look in the mirror to credit themselves. That's the problem with society right now. And it's interesting how people are always excited about taking accountability for when things go right. But how come they don't take accountability for when things go wrong? Well, because they're using the victim lens. But when you start to look out the window to credit others, and then you look in the mirror to assign the blame, that's the leader lens. That's the leader lens. But most leaders, man, they do the opposite. They look in the mirror to take the credit. They look out the window to assign the blames. I mean, it's the economy. It's my team. It's the market. It's everybody else's fault. It's the weather. Who knows, right? It's the government, right? It's Donald Trump, whatever. Listen, that's why you're failing, because the pride makes you unteachable. You're uncoachable. And the ego makes you unaccountable. And unaccountable leaders create cultures of fear. So how did I learn this? Well, let me tell you my story, right? When I was dropping the eggshells, right? I've led a lot of teams. I reference back to a season that I worked for a company for about 8, almost 9 years, right? It was VisionWorks, an optical company. And I referenced the company's name because a lot of people will say, hey, I work for this place and, I learned some things. But I want you to know that it's a real place and I actually really work there. I'm actually working on building out my LinkedIn profile. So if you go there, you can kind of see my history. Because I'll tell you what, when people start talking about business and leadership and mindset and coaching and all this kind of stuff, I would say that if you really looked at somebody's resume, 90% of those people don't have even the experience or the knowledge or anything to actually back it up, right? So I just want to let you know, check out my LinkedIn page. I'm building that out. Let's go to LinkedIn, right? So anyway, I built out systems, right? I've worked on things to where it was new ideas and new strategies for businesses. I've been in the trenches, is what I'm saying, right? And there was a season, man. I don't like talking about this, really, to be honest with you, because like I feel like it's making me vulnerable, right? Because but then again, I think my vulnerability is going to be somebody else's therapy because you need to hear this, right? And there was a season where I thought I had it all figured out, man. Like I thought I had it all figured out. Like I was the man. Like you couldn't tell me nothing because I was doing really good at sales. I was doing really good at sales. Like if you put me in front of somebody, I would close at a higher percentage than anybody else that was in the area, right? And I was growing. And so I got promoted to become a retail manager, right? And when I got promoted to become a retail manager, they promoted me because they knew that I was good in sales. They didn't promote me because I was a leader. But they knew that if I was good in sales, you might as well put this guy, in charge of everybody, right? Well, it worked because I was pushing my team to be better, right? We were hitting goals. We were making moves. But see, something was really wrong. Is that like anytime that people came to me with any type of issues or problems, I literally would like shut it down. I was the guy that was like, listen, man, I don't want to hear about it. Just get back to work. I was kind of like if you had David Goggins as a retail manager, that would have been me, right? Just constantly turning it around, saying, "Listen, don't. I don't want to hear about anything. I don't care about your life. All I care about is numbers. Like that's all that matters is numbers." I had no empathy. I could care less about what somebody was going through. If somebody were to tell me they were going through something challenging, I would say, "Yeah, well, I'm going through something even worse." Right? I had no like just empathy at all. Like I didn't even care about what anybody else was going through. All that mattered to me was that you were doing sales because that's what I got congratulated for. That's where people saw me that I was good at. So I was going to constantly tell the people that were working for me that if you weren't doing sales, you were worthless. You were really worthless. Like I didn't care that you were an optician and that you had 30 years of experience. I didn't care that a customer service was on point. All I cared about was numbers and money. That was it. I didn't even care if the people that were buying things got a great experience because it was all about the money. I was kind of like a lot of these online entrepreneurs that you see now running around. They all just talk about their money and what they have and all this stuff. But it's like, do they really focus on serving, or are they just talking about sales, and then they get other people to just focus on sales, and it turns into this big unethical earthquake. But anyway, that's how I was. I was kind of like the online entrepreneurs that you see that are doing a lot of unethical stuff, right? Like all these coaches and consultants and all these people, right? That leverage AI for a little bit of time, and then they package up something and they sell you something based on the fear of missing out. But that's kind of like how I was. Like, all I cared about was money. That was it, right? So my team was constantly walking on eggshells. They were afraid to bring me bad news. They were afraid to challenge my ideas. They were afraid to ask me any questions, and they were afraid to tell me when something wasn't working, right? And if they told me something wasn't working, I would just say, too bad, deal with it, right? And they weren't just afraid. They weren't just afraid. You know what I did? I blamed them. I blame them. I would say that y'all aren't confident enough. Y'all need to be bolder. Y'all need to take more ownership. Y'all need to be better in sales. Y'all need to do things differently. It was just you guys, y'all. If they were real leaders, they'd speak up. That's what I would say. Like you guys are just complaining all the time. But the truth was that I was the problem. I wasn't accountable for the culture that I was creating. Like, I had a conversation recently with a friend of mine, and he was like, man, it's really difficult to hire people right now. Nobody wants to work. And I'm like, well, what does your hiring process look like? What's the list of questions that you ask? What are the things that you do to find good people? He's like, man, good luck finding them. And he didn't like my answer to what I told him would be the solution for his problem. I said, man, you got a problem. And he goes, well, what do I need to do differently, right? I mean, it's their fault. And I was like, well, you're looking at things through a victim lens, because you're the common denominator of all those people, number one. And number two, you need to become the leader that other people would want to be led by. Would you want to be led by you? Would you follow you? That's the whole message and the core principle of this video today, is asking yourself that question as much as humanly possible. Would I want to date me? Would I want to marry me? Would I want to be my own father? Like, if you could take that question, would I want to lead me? Right? Just you start to say, you know what, man, maybe I can do things a little bit differently. And when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at start to change. Like we keep talking about in this video, you don't have a team problem, you have a perspective problem. So anyway, I wasn't accountable for my reactions, how I made them feel. If they told me, yeah, you seem like you're on the edge all the time, I would say you're too soft. I wasn't accountable for the fact that they did bring me bad news and I made them regret it. I was dropping eggshells everywhere. And then I'd get mad at them for walking carefully, right? Like think about that. I was dropping the eggshells everywhere. And then I'd get mad for the way they were walking around. Crazy, right? So I didn't have anybody holding me accountable. That's what I realized. I didn't have a mentor challenging my blind spots. I didn't have someone in my life asking me the hard questions. Questions like, Francesco, are you showing up to serve, or are you just showing up to be seen? Are you creating safety for your team, or are you creating fear? And like the question that I would ask everybody today is like, would your team follow you, or are they just working for a paycheck? And then when I got honest with myself, that's when I really looked in the mirror. And I pretty much said that I wouldn't want to follow me, because I was operating from pride, not humility. I was leading from ego and not service. I was showing up to be seen, not to serve. When the store did well, I would say, yeah, I made it happen. I made it happen. It's kind of like leadership that you see right now on a broad scale. When you zoom out, you can see some of the leaders that are in control of the world. And it's like they're constantly shifting their accountability to say, they're the problem. But then when something goes right, it's all about them. And that's why you see chaos. And I'll say this just came to me, but if you don't teach, let me talk to my parents out there. That if you don't teach your children how to follow Jesus, the world is going to teach them how not to. Okay. Anyway, I'm glad that my awareness level went up. That's all I'll say. Because when I was in this moment, I thought that everybody else was the problem. But what changed? They ended up getting somebody that at first was the person that I hated tremendously to coach me, to mentor me, to hold me accountable. I hated her with all my might, right? Um, Polo Chesco in the building. Come on, man. Today we're going in, man, and let's go. Listen, we're talking about leadership, and really, I didn't even know what leadership meant. I didn't even know what the word accountability meant. Like when I thought about accountability to me meant like somebody's in trouble. When somebody said you're gonna you got to get disciplined, right? I thought that I was gonna get in trouble by getting disciplined, right? It's crazy how like your awareness level in certain areas, when it shifts, everything changes. I mean, once you see this video, and if you could apply just a little bit of what you learned from this video, your life will never be the same forever. And to be honest with you, if you did watch this video and your life doesn't change, then you do need to take a look in the mirror and say that I am the problem, because I've been given all the information. I just lack the application. And then you'll go back, information, motivation, information, motivation, information, motivation. But the motivation is external. Nothing's going to change until your motivation is internal. It's this energy inside of you. We'll save that for another time. But anyway, so what happened? They put a mentor in place for me, because I'll tell you what, I probably wouldn't have gotten one, because I thought that I was the man. I was making sales. I was top sales everywhere I went. I was top sales in the district. I was top sales in the state. I was top sales in the region. I got to the point where I was top in the company based on how well I communicated. So I expected everybody else to do what I did, even though they weren't like me. So again, went through this whole season of really learning that I needed to look in the mirror. But it all came from questions. Like, it all came from really hard questions that I had to ask myself. And the first one was, would I follow me? Would I follow me? Yeah, like this video, y'all. Share this video with somebody today, too. I see y'all in the chat. Let's go. Drop some rockets in the chat. What's up, Keith? What's up, Clint? What's up, Mason? What's up, Gabby? I see y'all. So when I got accountable, my team got accountable. That's what I'll say. When I got accountable, my team got accountable. I wanted them to be accountable before I was. And when I started owning my mistakes, they started owning theirs. When I created safety, they started bringing me the truth. And you'll learn, when you focus on your communication with other people, you'll notice that people only get upset, angry, and triggered because of one reason: they feel unsafe. Read a book called Crucial Conversations. It'll change the game for you. So when I led with humility, right, being humble, and I have friends that tell me being humble is a bad thing, but I would love to go on a live and have a conversation with that, because I'd love to see their perspective on that a little bit deeper. Because when I think about humility, I think about the opposite of pride and ego. When I think about humility, I think about the greatest leader that ever lived. When I think about humility, I think about somebody that sacrificed their life for the mistakes of others. Let that sit for a minute. When you think about leadership, it's very difficult to get an example that's of this world. The greatest leader that ever walked the planet was only here for 3 years teaching. Was only teaching for 3 years. It's not about the amount of time that you spend. It's about the amount of influence. And that's all leadership is influence. Like, when you really think about it, right? Like, influence is really the core nucleus of leadership. And so like, if you're not influencing people, like if you think you're taking people somewhere, but you have no influence, you're not taking them anywhere. You're just taking a walk. I think I heard that from like John Maxwell or something, man. I don't know. Like, I think it was John Maxwell. Yeah. Listen, some of the stuff that I say, I don't know who said it. I can't remember who said it, but I want to help make it famous. I didn't make this up, but I want to help make it famous. That's what I'll say. I didn't make this up, but I want to help make it famous. If you're a leader, or so you think you're a leader of others, because you have to lead yourself before you lead others, right? But if you really look at it and say, who's following me? Right? That they will know my voice. My sheep will know my voice, right? I mean, who are the sheep? And if you're following somebody, where are they taking you? Because if they're not taking you through principles of the Bible and holding you accountable to making change, if you don't see them living out the principles of the Bible and holding themselves accountable to making change, then they may be just leading you off a cliff. I mean, a lot of leaders call themselves leaders and they take your money, but then take you nowhere else except for just a walk. Anyway, so so I want to tell you this, right? So why is it so hard to hold ourselves accountable? A stranger's voice that won't follow. Come on now. Amen. So why is it so hard to hold ourselves accountable? Why do we blame our teams instead of looking at ourselves first? Well, let me kind of like show you the science, right? Here's how it works. Here's how it goes down, right? Like when things go right, you credit yourself. I made that happen. I'm a great leader. I'm killing it. And then when things go wrong, you blame external factors. The economy, the market, my team, my circumstances. This is how every single human brain works by default. You are literally hardwired to see yourself as the hero and everyone else as the problem. That's kind of like how we're hardwired. And here's why that's so dangerous, right? Proverbs 16:2 says, all a person's ways seem pure to them, but motives are weighed by the Lord. All a person's ways seem pure to them. You think you're doing great. You think you're being fair. You think you're a great leader. You think everybody else is the problem. But without accountability, you're blind to the blind spots. Your heart will deceive you if there's nobody holding you accountable. That's why you need a mentor. That's why you need a coach. That's why you need community. That gonna cancel you. Cancel me? Bro, I can't get canceled, bro. I'd rather get canceled by the world. I'd rather get canceled by the world and be appreciated by the one and only. I mean, come on, man. Let's keep it real. Like that's cool. Like, being canceled is actually a good thing if you really think about it, right? The more awareness, I got the chat taking over right now. The more that I realize that I'm kind of like walking on this path that I feel like nobody else can understand, the more that I start to see that I'm doing the complete opposite of the majority of people in this world, the more that I'm starting to think that I'm not missing out. I'm actually doing what's right. There's a few African proverbs. I might have referenced one that I love, but one of them says, if you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. But I like to say what I said earlier, and I think it was John Maxwell that said something like this. And it was just really, if you're not influencing anybody, then you're just going on a walk. Leadership without accountability isn't leadership. It's just a walk. Leadership without accountability isn't leadership. It's just a walk. You're not going anywhere. Well, at least not anywhere important. I mean, you might get some exercise. You might get some exercise, but I think the best form of exercise would be running away from people that are afraid to take themselves accountable as fast as possible. I don't know if you caught that. You might have to get down the ride home. Let me take a sip. Hold on. You may have to catch that on the ride home. Don't ask me to say that again. Leaders that aren't influencing anybody, they think that people are following them to a great place. But if you're a leader that's not holding yourself accountable, then you're just going on a walk. You're just getting exercise. Exercise is good, but the greatest exercise that you could ever have in your life right now is walking away from being led by leaders that fail to hold themselves accountable. Drop some rocks in the chat if y'all felt that. I did. I mean, I just kind of like put that one together. Let's go now. So those are the symptoms, right? Are you somebody that's really lacking accountability, right? Is those are the symptoms that I kind of went through. It's really just knowing that you are blaming everybody. You're not blaming yourself. You're only taking accountability when things go right. When things go wrong, it's everybody else's fault. But here's the diagnosis, right? Here is the diagnosis, right? For you. The problem isn't your team. The problem is your lens, because you're looking at things through a victim lens. So here's what you see, right? You see what they're doing wrong. You see why they're not performing. You see how they're not accountable. And when you're a victim, their mistakes, their lack of effort, their bad attitudes, I mean, you literally blame and complain and you point fingers. You're the victim. Like, it's just a constant you, them. But it's like you could have all these fingers pointing this way, but what about the one that points back to you? You need to own it. I mean, when you look through things through a leader lens, right? Like, that's what I mean. Like when you look through things like a leader lens, here's what you start to see. You start to see what you're accountable for, how your leadership created this culture. I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, if you start a business, okay, and then you hire people, what did your onboarding look like? What did your training look like? What did your coaching look like? What did your job description look like? I mean, half of you watching this, maybe 90% of you watching this, unfortunately, and this may be part of the reasons why you're struggling, is that you're not actually building a solid foundation for your business. See, building a solid foundation for your business isn't all just about trademarks and copyrights and websites and cash management. I know a lot of y'all missed the cash management part, but a lot of it comes from documentation. Documentation. There's a framework that we have in our business that it's called the D-Day framework, because like today is D-Day, right? To take action. I mean, like, it is what it is. Take ownership, take action, take off. It's D-Day. So DDAE. And it's demonstrate, delegate, automate, elevate. Everybody wants to get to the automate right now with AI being where it is, but they haven't even gotten a person to actually manage the automation. So you must delegate before you automate. So what does that look like? That looks like, let me find a real person that's competent to be able to make sure that AI is doing what it's supposed to be doing, right? Next, before we even go into delegation, we have to demonstrate. There has to be a demonstration. We demonstrate, then we delegate. So as a leader that's taking accountability, you have to demonstrate what it looks like that you expect from other people. Have you even done what you're telling other people to do? That's the real question. Number two is, are you actually putting a process in place to get other people to have a clear expectation so they know what it is they're supposed to do? Because I see too many times in leadership where people will blame somebody else as if they were the problem, but they don't even know how to demonstrate the solution. Now, that's real insanity. Trying to hold somebody accountable to something that you never held yourself accountable to yourself, and then expecting the business to start to scale. Come on now. Would you follow you? Would you work for you? Would you respect you? Because here's the thing, right? Not only are you the things that you do, not only are you the habits that you have in place, I'm going to say something that you may not like, but I've never heard anybody say this before. So you probably need to hear it, because nobody's ever told you this before. You're your actions, you're your habits. But I'll tell you this, you're also the person that nobody sees but you. Earl Nightingale said you're your thoughts. Other people have said your actions. Other people have said that you're your actions. James Clear says that you're your habits, right? But you're also the person that nobody sees but you. What do you do when nobody's watching? Binge watch TV shows and then go back into work saying everybody else is the problem? Leave work and go back into binging reality TV shows with no personal growth, no accountability? You can't expect other people to grow when you're not actually growing yourself. Man, there's so much. I could probably have like 7 videos on this. I mean, I went through a season of my life where I wanted other people to change, so I would tell them to change, right? I would tell them they need to change. They need to do things differently before I actually did it myself. But then when I finally took accountability and did it myself, then everybody else started to change because of what happened in my life as a result of me changing. It's like Jesus. He didn't tell anybody what to do. He just said, follow me. And he was pretty confident because he was actually who he said he was. Are you who you say you are? So here's some symptoms of how you know that you're using the victim lens, right? If you're experiencing these, then you're looking at life or your leadership or your business through a victim lens. Symptom number 1, your team is walking on eggshells. We talked about this, right? And why are they doing that? Because you've trained them that, honestly. You've trained them that, honestly, that has consequences. You may not think you have, but watch your reaction next time someone brings you a problem. Your team doesn't learn by what's taught. They learn by what's caught. Do you listen to them or do you get defensive with them? Do you ask questions or do you shut them down? The question is, do you want to be better? Your team is a mirror of your leadership. And if they're walking on eggshells, it's because you're the one that's dropping them everywhere. Another symptom would be that you're blaming them for results. Every time something goes wrong, it's their fault. They're not executing. They're not committed, right? I need better people. But let me ask you, like, you're the one that trained them. Did you equip them with everything that they needed? Or maybe do you have to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I need to do a better job setting the expectation. Then you can inspect what you expect. You can't inspect something that you never expect. Did you create a system that sets them up to win, or did you just expect them to figure it out on their own? Because if they're failing, that means that you failed them first. And symptom number 3 is that nobody's holding you accountable. You're just leading alone. You're making decisions based on how you feel, based on your gut, based on your ego. And here's the problem is that your gut is full of pride, your feelings are unreliable, and your ego is making you unteachable. And then you always think everything is external, you know? But again, like we talked about before, are you a level 5 leader like Jim Collins talks about? Do you look in the mirror to assign blame? Or are you, a victim lens leader that you're looking out the window? Which one are you? So we talked about the symptoms. The diagnosis is that, yes, you are looking at things through the wrong lens and you need to have the right prescription, right? And it's crazy, right? How I worked in optical for so long and you get a prescription for your new glasses. And it kind of starting to see how God's got me on this path now, because you don't need a new team. You need a new lens. And here's the prescription for your new lens. What that leader lens actually looks like. And I would draw this up today, but, we're getting short on time. So I'll just say this, right? Is that a leader lens, right, is going to, well, let me just kind of show you the difference, right? You got the victim lens. The focus point is what they're doing wrong. In a leader lens, the focus is on what am I accountable for? A victim lens thinks, why can't they just do their job? A leader lens thinks, what did I create? How could I lead better? Then you got the victim lens. They blame, they complain. It's all about control. But the leader lens, they own everything. They focus on serving. They focus on improving. When it comes to culture, it's like one side is fear, it's eggshells, it's mistrust. And then the other side is like safety, trust, tons of growth, opportunities, right? And then it's like the results of all of this, though, like when you think about your business, there's a result. Like, this isn't just me saying, oh, this is this and that's that. Like, the ultimate result of having a victim lens as a leader is high turnover, low performance, and toxic culture. So if you have high turnover, low performance, and toxic culture, it's because the leadership is looking at things through the wrong lens. But if you got high retention, high performance, and a healthy culture, that's a result of the leadership looking at things through a leadership lens. It's the same team. You can have the same team. You just use a different lens, and that different lens is going to help you get a different result. So the question isn't like, why isn't my team accountable? The question is, am I accountable for the culture that I've created? Am I accountable to the culture that I've created? And here's the really, 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 really ultimate truth of it all. You cannot lead others further than you're willing to go yourself. If you're not accountable, you cannot hold others accountable. If you're not growing, you can't expect your team to grow. And if you're not humble, you can't create or expect a humble culture. You set the ceiling. So what lens are you looking through as a leader? Whether you're a small business owner that's leading yourself, small team, or whether you're a large company CEO that's leading hundreds or maybe thousands of employees. So anyway, this is what I'm going to tell you. This is how to improve, right? The practical steps are this, right? Number one, get a mentor. You have to get a mentor. You have to stop leading alone. You have to find somebody that's been where you want to go, right? That's willing to tell you the truth, not just what you want to hear. It's going to challenge your blind spots and will hold you accountable. And this isn't just one area of life. This is every area of life, right? So there's mentors that I see now that coach people at extreme high level, but they don't have coaches and mentors that are teaching them the same thing at a high level. So their like knowledge base is capped and their innovation is capped, and like where they are with their business is capped. So like you could purchase a mastermind, you could purchase a program, you can hire a mentor to lead you, but you have to ask yourself, who is leading them? Who's leading them? Because you'll see the one thing, like when you actually get a mentor and they are guiding you at a certain area, then you get to a certain point that they may not be able to take you anymore. You can see that they may have mentors, but not in the same area of what they're actually teaching you, because that just shows that they made the money that they wanted to make. And that's all it was about. It wasn't about becoming better and becoming, at the top of my game all the time. They just took you to a certain place. But, but what's the objection, right? Francesco, I can't afford a mentor. Francesco, like there's no way that I can afford a mentor. I would say this, then be a student of life. Read books, free. Listen to podcasts, free. Study leaders that you respect, free. Join a community, free. Get into a mastermind, free. There's many things that you can do for free. Get around people that have better conversations. Because here's the thing, if nobody's leading you, your heart will keep deceiving you. Come on now. And everybody says, well, my greatest mentor is Jesus. I just read the Bible. I agree with that, but this is what people will say when they don't want to invest into a mentor as an objection. Well, that's cool. I'm with it. Like, I agree with you 100%. But let me ask you a real question. For the person that says, hey, my greatest mentor that I have is Jesus, I don't need another mentor. I just read the Bible. Okay, well then, when is the last time you actually did that? When's the last time you actually studied the word, prayed, and meditated on the word of God? When's the last time you actually set aside time to listen to his voice instead of just doing whatever your voice tells you and your feelings tell you to do? And it's not me to judge, but I'm just going to keep it real. The majority of the people that I know that are very spiritual and working on their Christianity are reading the Bible and then living the opposite again and again. Like, don't get me wrong. Jesus died for our sins because he knew we weren't going to be perfect. He knew that we were going to make mistakes. He knew that the world was going to, influence us. But that doesn't mean that we're supposed to make the same mistakes over and over. He said for us to repent. I mean, Jesus said, my sheep know my voice. Do you know his voice? Or are you just reading some biblical scriptures and then doing whatever your feelings tell you to do? It's like read a test or read a devotional in the morning, but then allow your feelings to direct you in the afternoon. Because here's the thing, if you're not taking time to listen to the word of God, then you're not following him. You're following yourself. And your heart will deceive you. So every single day, I want you to ask yourself this. If you want to become a better leader, then you have to ask yourself this question every single day. Would I follow me today? Did I show up to serve, or am I showing up to be seen? Did I really create safety for my team, or did I create a lot of fear? Did I own my mistakes, or am I just blaming others? That's one question that's going to expose absolutely everything. Because here it is, right? Like the reason that you'll never achieve your dream is because you're not showing up to serve, you're showing up to be seen. Leadership is not about you, it's about them. And then audit these eggshells that you keep dropping everywhere. I mean, here's a hard exercise, but just do it, right? Like, ask your team, ask your team anonymously if needed, right? Do you feel safe bringing me bad news? Like put a survey out and find out what your people are feeling. Find out what your people are going through. Instead of telling them that they're the problem, find out that what they can do to become the solution. Because here's the thing, like, you won't know what the problem is until you collect like, how do I say this? Like, your team's behaviors are being influenced by your actions. The real question is do you want to build something great? Because there will be a certain time that everybody's going to leave. If you don't actually become the person that great employees want to be led by, then you're never going to have great employees. There's great employees out there. There's great team members out there. There's great C-suite executives out there. They are. Go to some companies and go see. You'll be like, man, that person's great. Man, this person's awesome. They're there. Why are they there? Because they're actually being led by a leader that they actually feel like is leading them. So the reason why you have employees that are just not doing what they're supposed to do, and you got low retention and poor culture, is because of your leadership. Nobody wants to work for somebody that's dropping eggshells everywhere. And then when they're walking on eggshells, they're like, oh my God. And then you're like, why are you walking on eggshells? Well, you dropped them out of your pocket. Own it. Apologize. Change. Because you created that culture. So you have to shift from the they need to I need to. You know, you don't want to talk about I all the time, right? Is that what people say? But then they go off and they talk about I. But stop saying, I mean, this is where you need to say I, right? Is what I'm saying. Like, this is where you need to say I. Stop saying they need to be more accountable. They need to step up. They need to perform better and start saying things like, I need to create a culture of accountability. I need to equip them to step up. I need to lead them better to perform better myself. Accountability starts with you, nobody else. And then the last thing would be like, study Jesus. You want to see the ultimate example of accountable leadership? Look at Jesus. He washed feet. He washed feet. Other people's feet, not his. He served. He led with humility. He died for the mistakes of others. If you want the ultimate example of leadership, look at Jesus. He washed feet. He served. He led with humility. He died for the mistakes of others. He didn't say, y'all are the problem. He said, I got your back. And not because he had to, because he chose to. He took accountability for the sins that he didn't commit. That's the leader lens. He took accountability for the sins that he didn't commit. Not pride, not ego, humility. He knew who he was, although he did not have to prove it. Do you know who you are? Or are you still trying to prove it? Man. Accountability, it's not rules, it's not compliance, it's not micromanagement. Accountability is taking full ownership of your leadership, your culture, your results. You are responsible for what you create. If your team is walking on eggshells, you created that. If your team doesn't trust you, you created that. If your team isn't performing, you created that. Own it. Take ownership, then take action, and eventually you're going to take off. Come on now. You can't lead others further than you're willing to grow yourself. You just can't. You just can't. And I just want to kind of like tie this into the Bible, right? Philippians 2:3-4. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. Let me break that down, right? It's pretty much saying that leadership is service, not status. Jesus modeled this. He washed feet. He washed feet. And when I keep saying he washed feet, he washed other people's feet. Like, to me, it baffles me because that's the last thing I want to do is wash anybody else's feet. I don't know about y'all, but when I think about washing feet, it makes me think like, I don't know. And you think to it, the most powerful leader, the person that died so we could be saved, literally washed other people's feet. He served the disciples. He led with humility. That's the leader lens. Man. Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. You need somebody sharpening you. If you don't have a mentor, a coach, a community, somebody that's holding you accountable, then you're not getting sharpened. You're going dull. And dull leaders can't sharpen anyone. Who's sharpening you? Would you follow you? Would you want to be led by you if you're not getting sharpened every single day, but expect others to get sharpened? Like, come on now. John 10:27. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. Pretty much saying that, like, are you listening to your feelings, your ego, your pride, or are you listening to the voice of truth? Because if you're not listening to somebody that's actually wiser than you, then you're just listening to yourself. You're listening to your temptation. You're listening to your feelings. You're listening to comfort. And that's going to destroy you. Jesus went to the cross to die for the mistakes of others. I'm sure that didn't feel good. But he knew who he was. He knew who he was. So he didn't have to prove it. All right. So anyway, the number one thing, obviously, is leaders that lack they lack accountability, right? We talked about it in this whole video. The number one thing is that leaders lack accountability, but not the accountability for them, accountability for you. So here's some of the things that we covered, right? The research shows that 60 to 75% of leaders fail because they won't hold themselves accountable. And I talked about my story on how I was dropping the eggshells, right? That basically I was not the perfect leader. I would never will be the perfect leader, but like I went into my story talking about, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to look at things through a victim lens, but we talked about the lens shift, right? You don't need a new team. You need a new lens. So it's not the victim lens. It's the leader lens. We don't blame others. We own what we need to own. We talked about studying Jesus. If you're going to study Jesus, then follow Jesus. Don't just read the book when things are going wrong. Read it as the study guide to understand that this is the way to become a leader that other people would love to be led by. And if you need anything from this video, the most important thing, and it's on the thumbnail, is constantly asking yourself, would you follow you? And if the answer is no, you know what to do. Look in the mirror, get accountable, lead like Jesus. So all I want to ask you guys, man, if this shifted your perspective, if you're still watching this video, drop some 100s in the chat. I always talk about dropping rockets, but I want to see if somebody watched this whole video. And I would love for you to share this video if it impacted you in any way, shape, or form. Subscribe to this YouTube channel to be able to get content that's dropped every single day. And we also go live once a week right now. And drop some rockets in the chat right now if you guys are committed to the leader lens this week. And comment your biggest takeaway. I would love to know what you took away from this video, maybe what you're taking accountability for going forward. And because I don't charge for any of this. This is completely free, like, because I believe in you. A lot of the things that I'm going over, I work with teams and executives and entrepreneurs to help them grow. And it's interesting how this information is sometimes never utilized because it's just almost like treated like it was a wow moment. Wow, that's so cool, man. That makes so much sense. But then they don't apply it, so they never see the result. So if you want to get to the point where you have a business that has a great culture, has low retention, and people are growing to become leaders, apply this to yourself. Ask yourself every single day, would you follow you? Would you want to be led by you? And this is in business. Think about using this at home. Would I want to be my father? Would I marry me? Would I want to date me? Because here's the truth, right? And I'll kind of end with this, is that you can't change your team, your family, or anybody around you until you change you. You can't lead others further than you're willing to lead you. You are a leader right now. The question is, where are you leading yourself to? And that's usually where other people are being led to also. And if you're not influencing anybody, like if you don't see people being changed as a result of your leadership, then you're not influencing anybody. You're not influencing anybody. You're just going on a walk. So stop blaming, start owning, Stop showing up to be seen. Start showing up to serve. Stop leading from the victim lens. Start leading from the leader lens and asking yourself, would you follow you? And if the answer is no, then good. Like that means you're being honest. Now go do something about it. Look in the mirror, get a mentor, get accountable, lead like Jesus led with humility, service, ownership. Ownership. I love taking ownership. Listen, because when you take ownership for the problem, you actually get to become the solution. And when you take ownership, then you're taking the right action that'll eventually help you take off. So hopefully this video adds some value to you guys. Take this information. Don't just listen to it, apply it, and watch your life change forever. And remember, today, you don't need a new team. You just need a new lens. Take accountability. I'll see y'all next Wednesday. God bless y'all. Peace.